Welcome into another edition of The Session with Londa and David. My name's David Austin, and sitting across from me in this beautiful outfit that's got a black top and gray jeans, my beautiful blushing bride, Londa Joanne Sherwood Austin. And I got to tell you, hon, I was so happy to come home today from that real estate open house I sat in Lafayette, Louisiana, to the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. I mean, wow.
You are very sweet. And I'm sure our listeners enjoy the fashion report at the top of every show.
It takes my breath away.
Well, there could be worse things in life, right?
The Session with Londa and David is brought to you each and every week by Sherwood Austin Growth Consultants. Listen, if you're looking to grow your income and your success, Sherwood Austin Growth Consultants can help you find your sweet spot. Whether you're hoping to increase sales, grow your team, or just get your bottom line back in shape, Sherwood Austin Growth Consultants can help. Call Londa today at 509-491-2663. That number again is 509-491-2663 for Sherwood Austin Growth Consultants. With over 40 years of combined sales training, coaching, and management success, Sherwood Austin Growth Consultants is the right team to call. That number one more time. We're going to sneak it in one more time right here. 509-491-2663. Text, call, or email Londa at SherwoodAustin.com. It's a great time to be in business. Why not be in business with us?
Yeah, I agree. All our businesses are successful. We don't make bad investments.
And when we sell our businesses, which we just sold our salon, it's profitable. I'm very excited about that. I don't really want to talk much about that today.
All I do is win, win, win.
That's exactly right.
No matter what.
That's so awesome.
Did you see my cup?
I like it.
Brought to you by Home Coffee, right? As you say.
Again, the session is brought to you by Home Coffee. It's easy to make at home. Home Coffee. Use whatever beans you like and make it at home.
Price of gas got you crying? Make your coffee at home.
Home Coffee. It's also made with home water.
Do you like my cup, though?
I do.
Can you read it?
Pretty good chance there's whiskey in here. Just saying. That's pretty cool. That's pretty funny. I don't know. I don't know at all. Anyway, I'm very excited about this show.
We don't drink during our show.
No.
You don't let me.
It's off-brand. It's off-brand. Last week, during our show, we talked about how systems are important to business, and you said, let's do this as our show next time. And I said, yes.
I promised you a show about systems, and here it is.
This is the System Show on this edition of The Session with Londa and David. You know, we talk about business. We talk about the sales process.
We do.
We talk about customer service.
We do.
All of it can be excellent. The way to make it excellent is to employ a system. And that's what we're going to talk about. And to start it off, I'm going to talk about a terrible system that they have at a restaurant called Brick and Spoon in Lafayette, Louisiana.
We're calling you out.
We went there on Saturday, a busy breakfast day. Mm-hmm. Walked in, parked right by the door, got a great space, walked in, and it was almost surreal. I didn't understand what was happening. Londa did not have a good experience with their greeting system. So tell us about that.
I am not ashamed to admit I snapped. Here's what happened.
Okay.
We walked in. This was not the first place that we wanted to go, but places were busy. Right. It was mid-morning on Saturday. And
Mel's Diner had people waiting outside, and it was 35 degrees out. So we said, nope, we're going to keep
gross,
rolling. That's exactly right.
To 35 degrees. So anyway, we walk in, and the person at the host stand, or whatever you call that right there, looked up and said, yeah, our wait's an hour.
Yeah, our wait's an hour. And Londa looked at her, smiled, and said, "Good morning."
And turned around and walked out.
Then turned right around and walked out.
I waited a second because I wanted her to say, "Oh my gosh, good morning. You know what
Yes.
welcome in. Our wait is going to be about an hour. Will that work for you guys?"
And so, our wait's about an hour. It's about an hour right now.
No, you're softening it. It's about an hour. She didn't say that. She looked me dead in the eye and said, "Yeah, our wait's an hour."
Yeah, unacceptable.
I said, "Good morning."
Not good morning first. She didn't say good morning.
Turned around and walked out.
Yeah. And I didn't know what was happening. I just turned and followed you.
And then I ranted in the car for a solid 5 minutes about it.
And I cried.
And we talked again about the importance of systems.
Systems are critical.
Here is the system that would have helped. And by the way, and listen, I know they've got plenty of business, and me saying I'll never go back there again doesn't matter. And I get that. And I get, I hear you, millennials and Zoomers, rolling your eyes at me because it doesn't matter if I take my business there or not. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I will promise you this. I'll never go back again, and I'll tell everyone I know everything that's wrong with that restaurant and their system. So anyway.
Well, and that's something that happens. And if
whether
you don't,
that affects them or not is really, I don't care, but I'll never, okay.
It's always appropriate to be kind. You start every greeting with welcome or hello. You need to script that for those people because clearly no one has done that.
And this is the system, business owners. You must have a short script that is the greeting in your place of business for walk-ins and telephone. And we do not vary from that scripting. No matter what the circumstance is, no matter if you're busy, you're understaffed, you're overwhelmed, your hair's on fire, I don't care what it is, it stays the same. And if you hold people want to win.
Right.
They want to do well. They want to feel like they have a win. Help them win by giving them the expectations that are laid out in a system. Here's how you win here. This is what you say every time someone walks in the door. This is what you say.
Right.
Memorize it. Learn it. We're going to practice with you before we put you in front of people.
It'll be about an hour. I guarantee is not in the system.
Oh, my God.
You wanted to set that poor girl on fire. And you know what? If they had systems in that restaurant, they had about 1/3 of the people that IHOP right up the road had in their restaurant. And IHOP, we walked in and sat right down because they have a system.
Okay, we walked in, and as we walked in, I could see the host and the manager behind the host looking, and the host said, "Okay, it looks like 4. Grab 4 menus." Manager picked up 4 menus. We walked in. She said 4? I said, "No, just 2. Okay, 2. Go. This table."
And boom. Boom, boom, boom. That's right. That's exactly right. You need to have systems. Let me tell you something. I guarantee IHOP doubled the business that morning of the other place.
Right.
Except they did it much, much, much more quickly. Now, our waiter was not super fast at IHOP. He was a young guy, and I don't think he was actually a waiter there. I think he was kitchen staff, and they pulled him to wait tables. I kind of gleaned that. I don't know if that's true, but I think that.
It's the story you're telling yourself.
Absolutely.
To make yourself feel better about the slow service once we got in there.
He was a little slow, but again, systems are of critical import. If
Right.
he was one of the trained wait staff, we would have been part of a system. I don't think he's regularly a waiter there.
I don't know.
He did an adequate job, but he did not turn our table quickly like they require at IHOP. You know what I mean? So there you go. Systems are critical, and it all starts with reception. And that's in a business, that's in a restaurant, that's in an open house. It all starts with reception. And if when someone comes in, it needs to be consistent, welcoming and warm. Would you agree with that?
Yes, absolutely.
What should the girl at Brick and Spoon have done and said?
Well, I mean, it depends on what they're wanting to impart as people come in, but I would think something as simple as, "Hi, welcome to Brick and Spoon. How are you? Hi, welcome to Brick and Spoon. I'll be right with you."
Right.
"Hi, welcome. We'll be right with you."
Right. That's right.
"Hi, welcome. How can I help you today?"
Yeah.
Another greeting, air quotes, in restaurants that I absolutely hate is when you walk in and they say, "Two today?" What the hell is that? That's not hello.
Right. That's not hello. Hello needs to be the first word out of your mouth.
I can't.
You can.
I'm set them all on fire.
So I was talking to our neighbor Ken on Friday night. We went out to the Hideaway, I think is what that bar was called. I'm not sure of that, but we went out and listened to a live band, and we were talking to our neighbor across the street.
We went out to listen to the Magna Lights.
That's right, and they were delightful. Anyway, I was talking to Ken, and he said to me, we were talking about food, and he said to me, it was very interesting. He said, around here, everybody's so excited about local food, and they kind of punish chains because it's not local. And I said, that's true. And he says, yeah, I like chains. And I said, well, me too. Because if you go into a chain restaurant, you know exactly what you're going to get every single time. Like Outback. Outback has been, my buddy used to run it in Tri-Cities, Washington, Perry. He's now moved on. He's now in Vegas I think he's at Carrabba's Italian Grill now. Same parent company, right? And I used to love going there because I knew for sure I was going to get exactly the same service, food quality, and level of cleanliness that exists at every Outback in the world. And I loved it. And so that was one of my places.
Because you, like many people, appreciate the security of consistency.
Well, absolutely.
And I would rather gamble on a new place that's local than gamble on the consistency, the security of consistency.
Well, and I fully agree with what you're saying. It is a gamble to try a new place. It's not a gamble to try a place that you've been before and it's consistent because they have good systems.
But
it's
to me,
not
that's
a gamble.
no fun. But we digress. We're getting off of
I'm the reason people are sad in Russia is because McDonald's is closing down, right? Because
I don't know if that's why people are sad.
No, the Russian people are hoarding sandwiches because McDonald's has announced that they're shutting down in Russia. 15 minutes later, Starbucks announced that they're shutting down in Russia as well, right? So people are sad about that. Well, here's the interesting part. If I go to McDonald's in Pasco, Washington, and I go to McDonald's in Russia, besides the weird font on the screen, I can get the exact same food. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because systems keep things consistent.
Right.
And consistency can make something a great experience.
So your systems, if they're for you personally, you don't work for a corporation that has a system in place. If they're for you personally, the system needs to be tailored around your personality. We've talked a little bit about this before, that your personality and your lifestyle and what job you do, your goals, all of that comes into play. This is one reason why I'm really, really good at building systems from the ground up for people and companies and whatnot, is because I do take into consideration all of those things. And for some reason that all just makes sense in my brain.
Right.
But to give some tools to those listening today, I would say your system can be as detailed or as loosey-goosey as you are.
That makes sense.
So if you're a person who is highly detail oriented and you find yourself refiling your paperwork instead of making your phone calls, then you might be the kind of person who would do well with a time blocking system that's pretty, what's the word I'm looking for? Strict.
Right.
Right? And then you just time block. And every week on Tuesday from 10 a.m. to noon is when you call the clients or potential clients in your pipeline.
Right.
And every, Wednesday afternoon at 1 p.m. is when you return emails from Monday, Tuesday. And on Fridays at 1 p.m. is when you return emails from Thursday. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And maybe you can block down to, I don't know if anyone remembers the book, The 15-Minute Manager, but block down to those 15-minute little time blocks. But maybe you are not the kind of person who does that at all, and you love to fly by the seat of your pants and be loose and free and creative, but you find yourself getting lost in the chaos. And those kind of people forget to return phone calls, forget who's in their pipeline. They lose clients because they don't follow up. And that's all systems based. And you can have systems that are, it's kind of like a dog playing inside a fenced yard.
Right.
And the dog is loose and free and can go anywhere they want inside that fenced yard. You can build systems just like that. And then sometimes, your pup has to go into his tiny little kennel. So systems are kind of the same way. That was kind of a funny example, but you can build them out the same way. And one thing that I've found really helpful as far as time blocking, and the reason I'm coming to this is I saw a post recently on Facebook where a realtor had asked, what do you struggle the most with in your business and what's been your solution so far? And a lot of people talked about their time and their follow-up system. And it all comes back to systems.
Right.
And so having an easy way to have a system is just to think about your day in 3 segments: morning, afternoon, evening.
Okay.
And what has to be done before the lunch hour? What's got to be completed before the lunch hour? And maybe you think about during your work week, your mornings, and are you sharpest in the morning or not? Are you most focused in the morning? Are you more social in the morning and more focused on, the task at hand in the afternoon? You really have to think about these kind of things and then build your system around those things to know when you're going to be the most productive at what part of the day.
I like that.
Does that make sense?
Sure. Yes.
Yeah. And, it's as easy as making a list of all the things that you have to complete in a given week of your work that need to be on a consistent rotation, right? And then plug those things in. If you know that you're sharpest and you like to really sit at your desk and focus on your business in the morning, then figure out all those little task things you have to do: writing your personal notes, returning emails, returning phone calls, doing research, maybe doing market research,
right,
for those of us in real estate, and block those into the morning hour, but don't block them into a particular time of the morning. Just, you don't get to go have lunch till those things are done. They have to be completed by noon.
Okay, so you give yourself kind of a reward.
You're playing inside the fenced yard.
Yeah.
And always give yourself a reward. Read the book Habits if you don't think that's a thing.
That's awesome.
It is a thing. Yeah.
I like that.
And then, your afternoons the same way. What's absolutely got to be done. And people will say to me when I'm working with them, but you don't understand, my clients pull me here and they pull me there, and I'm got this text or I got that phone call.
Sure.
You have voicemail for a reason. Well, but, the client's biggest complaint is that, this is for realtors don't answer their phone. Okay, that's fine. If you want to keep your sanity, maybe you have to not answer your phone during this particular block of time. Do you know what I mean? It's
Yes.
Okay. I get the importance of answering the phone. I also get that you don't, the tail can't wag the dog forever.
Sure. And the more experienced you get as an agent, or a lender, the easier it is to paint the expectation for your clients. Hey, listen, between 8 a.m. and 9:30 a.m. every day, I have quiet time where I'm working on my this, and this. Mm-hmm. If you call me, then you're going to get my voicemail. Mm-hmm. Is that okay? Mm-hmm. No person that you say that to is going to say, no, you son of a bitch.
Well, and I would even reframe it. And rather than telling them when they can't get a hold of me, I would tell them when they can.
Okay. Like I'm available by phone every day between the hours of 9:30 and 5:30 or whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's more structured. I used to say to people, I answer my phone whenever you call, unless I'm with a client, in a closing, or playing trombone on Sunday at church.
Right.
And
I don't, and I've never been that way. I've always had really good boundaries with my time.
Right.
And I think part of it is because I am a systems person. And, frankly, if somebody gets pissed off that I didn't answer my phone, do you really want to work with that person?
Right.
I don't. I mean, if we're 2 hours from closing, I'm going to answer my phone. Use your head. Some of it's circumstantial.
Sure.
But,
a lot of people's sales method is if they see a phone number they don't recognize, they do not answer it. A lot of people do that. I don't do that.
Right.
But a lot of people do.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I don't know. I do what you want to do.
Okay.
And let the chips fall where they may.
Okay. Let me tell you a story about the importance of systems.
Okay.
Really quickly. I should have done this at the very beginning. When I was 30, I called up a fence company.
Long time ago.
Yes. I called up a fence company.
In the olden days.
That company was called Scott Fence in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And we ordered a Scott Fence. And they put in an automated gate and, wood 6-foot cedar fence all the way around the backyard. And then on the very back, it was like 4 feet because we wanted to see Bayou Goudin behind our house, right?
But you wanted to keep little baby Caitlin safe.
Little baby Caitlin and tiny baby Benjamin came right along behind her, right? So anyway, we call. They tell us, okay, on Thursday, we're going to come set the posts. On Friday, we'll let it dry all day. And then on Saturday, we'll come put the fence up. And I'm like, okay, we'll see how that works. So I come home from work. There's a metal fence post there where the automated gate was going to be. And I look in the backyard and there are fence posts all the way around the yard, right? And they're set in concrete and they're drying. Okay, great. Everything's fine. Friday, no one came. They told us it would be Saturday. Saturday morning, I got out of bed at about 6 o'clock, as I do, get up early, and went into the kitchen and made coffee. And while the coffee was brewing, right, I hear boop, 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 and I see a trailer, like on the back of an 18-wheel, you like an 18-wheeler, but with a flatbed.
Tractor trailer.
Yep. Backing down my long driveway with wood, full of wood. And I'm thinking, damn it, it's the fence guys. This is going to take all day. I've built a fence before. This is going to be awful. So the coffee finishes brewing. I take the pot into my bedroom. There's my wife. I wake her up and I'm thinking, ooh, this is not going to be good because they're going to inconvenience her and it's going to be bad. It's not going to work out at all for me. And I hear stuff going on in the backyard. And 20 minutes later, maybe 25 minutes later, I walk back out to the kitchen with the pot of coffee and put it back on the burner. And I look and there's no truck there. And I'm like, oh my God, did they forget something? Did they just leave without finishing? And I walk out into my backyard and I swear to God, the entire backyard was fully fenced. I don't know how they did it in less than 30 minutes, but they did. So I call Charlie Scott. He and his brother Forrest run the business. I call him and say, Charlie, how did you guys build a fence in my backyard? I've built fences with friends and it takes all weekend and lots of beer. And every now and then one guy hits his thumb with a hammer. How did it get done at my house in less than half an hour? He said, well, David, you can take all weekend to build a fence, but you can build a fence in half an hour if you have a system. Mm-hmm. He said it a little more colorfully than that, but that's the bottom line. When he told me anybody with a system can build a fence in half an hour, it was just unbelievable to me.
Right.
And what they do ahead of time is they mark all the wood. They know slat 1 goes here, slat 2 goes here, and they know where to put the screw gun to screw it all together. It was amazing. Mm-hmm. Well, when he told me that, I was just transitioning from being an on-air radio person to being a radio salesperson. So he told me that, and I wrote the notes, sales system, in my notebook. And I took my little Franklin Covey planner in to Malcolm Adams and said, Malcolm, I need a system. He said, that's right, you do, Dave. You need a system. And he taught me a system for sales, and it worked wildly successful. It was wildly successful, right? So again, anybody with a system can do it in 30 minutes.
Right.
So systems are critical.
Systems make you more efficient, more productive. And the reason, your reason for being more efficient and more productive is your own personal reason.
Right.
My reason for being more efficient and more productive is I want to work less and have the same result. Right.
Right.
So, I don't want to work 80 hours a week anymore.
Right.
It doesn't interest me. So I had to get smarter with my systems if I wanted to work fewer hours. Mm-hmm. And so maybe you want more free time. Maybe you want more money.
Right.
Maybe you want, more downtime, more peaceful time in your life. You don't feel, or maybe you just want to feel more peaceful about the things that you do. If your brain goes 100 miles an hour like mine does all the time, like if I ask somebody what they're thinking about and they say nothing, I always think, wow, that must be amazing.
Well, and if a man says that, they're telling the truth.
I don't think there's been a single moment in my life that I've been thinking about nothing.
That's interesting.
It just doesn't happen. My brain is full all the time. There's too much firing all the time in my head. So I will, and let me use this example. I clean my house on a certain day of the week.
Right.
It's a floating day. So it's one day, I'm going to do all of it, but it's on one of these 2 days that
Saturday or Sunday is my guess.
Yeah. An occasional Friday, but generally speaking,
sure,
Friday or Saturday is usually my target. So the reason I do that is not because, it's not for any reason you're thinking, whatever you might be thinking that I'm, OCD or any of that kind of thing. Well, I might be OCD, but the reason that I always clean my house the reason I don't have a housekeeper is they don't do it well enough. And the reason that I always clean my house on either Friday or Saturday is because on Tuesday, when I notice the dust on something and I start hyper fixating on it, I need to do that. I need to do that. I need to get that clean. I need to do that. I can say to my brain, no, you're going to do that on Friday or Saturday.
Okay.
And then I can let it go.
All right.
And I do the same things in business. If I don't call every client in my pipeline on Tuesday morning all week long, I'm freaking out because I need to call them. I need to call them. I need to call them. When I know that every Tuesday morning at 10 a.m., I sit my butt in the chair and I call those people, then I can say when I start thinking about it on Thursday, oh my gosh, I need to call so-and-so. No. I have notes.
Right.
And I'm going to call them on Tuesdays. And like you were saying, setting people's expectations, my clients know when I'm working with them, depending on a client in which field, because it's different. Now we have lots of different areas that we have clients in, right? But they know because I've told them, hey, you can expect to hear from me with an update every Tuesday morning between 10 and 12. Will that work for you? Will a different time be better? Should I text it to you, email, call you? How do you want that information? And then they know to expect they're going to hear from me every week. So it's just a part.
And you better put that in your calendar and follow through with that.
Well, and that's the other thing is you've got to, technology is too easy now to not follow systems.
Right.
I mean, if you don't have a system, you're just not even, you're trying to not have one.
You can set a reminder in your phone by talking to it, calling it by name and telling it what to remind you of and when, and it will.
And it'll remind you weekly. You know what I mean? So it's just too easy. It's just too easy to be able to do this successfully. You can't fail. I'm a huge believer in doing everything you want to do. And I'm a person with a lot of dreams.
Right.
I want to do a lot of things, a lot of different things. I have different interests. And so when I have a system for my home, the maintenance on my home, the cleaning of my home, the restocking of my home, the food, the groceries, the menu, all that stuff, all those systems. My kids, when I had kids at home, it was all systematic, right?
Sure.
I do my laundry on Sundays. I always do my laundry on Sundays. I go to the grocery store on Sundays. You know what I mean? Systems in my home allow me to have more time to do other things that I love doing. Now, if your system is somebody else does your grocery shopping, somebody else does your cooking, somebody else does your cleaning, someone else does your laundry, someone else takes care of your kids, that's perfectly fine. It's a system. You're the general contractor of your life. Subcontract whichever parts of it you want to.
I love that. And let me tell you something. Having a home that is peaceful allows for a lot of productivity.
Yes. And creativity. And I'm a person who, and I feel like I'm like in a therapy session here, I'm revealing so much about how my brain works in this, but I'm a person too who, somebody made a comment recently that they were at our home and they said, your home is always so neat. There's nothing, there aren't things laying out. It always looks neat and pretty neat and clean, Yes. And they said, you're just a freak about it. I said, well, no, yes and no. I can't think if things are out of order.
Sure.
Thank you, trauma.
And I can't either, but I don't know why that is.
Yeah, I don't know. I know why mine is because past trauma. So the chaos in my brain won't allow it. So it has to be in order.
Interesting.
So this is why I'm good at developing systems, though, is because I've had to out of survival, which great. People pay me for it now, so that's great.
And I think because your brain works the way it does and is always firing and always deducing, I think that's what makes you so good at consulting, because you can walk into a room and see everything that's wrong in the room.
Yeah.
I can't do that. That is a magic trick that I haven't learned yet.
Most people can see the big, glaring, obvious things, but I'll find the tiny little shift that needs to happen that will change everything. Yep. So, having systems in your home, for your family, in your work, it just makes everything smoother.
Yeah.
Yep. We talk a lot about our kids, and we have one kid who we tease about having a floor closet. And it's the kid that has the most fashion sense in the group, so I don't understand it. I think so. Well, it's the creative brain, right?
I gotcha.
So we tease about the floor closet because since this kid was tiny, her clothes have always been on the floor, right? And it was a constant fight. But now, as a grown person, still the floor closet.
Sure.
And here's why I don't leave my clothes on the floor. It works for her, I guess. I don't know. It makes me crazy. I don't leave my clothes on the floor or laying out or whatever because it slows down my productivity when I go to get dressed to go somewhere.
Oh, I gotcha. And it makes it harder to do an inventory of the things that are clean.
You can't find clean socks because you have, and this is going back to my mom coach days, you can't find clean clothes for your kids because you wash and dry them and then leave them in the dryer or pile them on the couch instead of folding them and putting them away.
Right.
And now you have to get out the door to go somewhere with your kids, and you're freaking out, and your stress is now transferring to them because you're freaking out and screaming at your kids because you can't find the clothes. But it could all have been avoided by having a system of, we never leave the clothes. Listen, it's not hard. You wash, dry, put away.
You know, it's interesting that you say that. Let me tell you how much easier my life is since we've been married.
Oh, well, you don't have to tell me because I know.
No. My closet has gray plastic hangers in it. I know for sure that it's my clothes because it's on a gray hanger. There is no way for me to mess that up. I cannot accidentally put a lady's sweater in my closet because the lady's sweater is on a black hanger and my hangers are gray. You have made systems that have made my life so much easier. I can't even describe it. I can't. It's awesome. The stuff you've done for this house and for me personally, spectacular. Love it.
Well, thank you very much.
And my system's a lot different than your system. My system is I have someone to clean. I have someone to cook. And that's just because that's something that you enjoy doing.
Yeah. When we got together, you cooked for yourself and you had cleaning people and all that.
The only thing I don't take care of on my own is the laundry. I'm incapable of doing the laundry because I don't have a manual and I've never done it. So there you go.
Well, every washer and dryer comes with a manual, so I call BS on that.
Well, I don't know where the manual is.
You could...
They were here when we moved into the house.
Oh, I have them.
And I don't understand why they play songs to me. I don't get
why
it.
the appliances play songs.
I don't get it. I don't know what's happening, but I walk into the kitchen and I know you've been doing laundry and I hear doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. I don't know what the heck that is. I don't know what it's saying to me, but it's pleasant, I guess. It's a pleasant sound.
Right. I'm going to tell you right now, if you want to be more productive in your work life, improve the systems in your home life.
You know what? You could do an entire keynote speech about that.
I used to all the time.
I'm telling you now, you could go right now, sight unseen, without writing down a word, and give an hour talk about that.
Yeah, and good news for everyone out there that I really do believe. Excuse me.
Bless you. That was awesome.
I really do believe in tailoring your system to, again, your personality, your lifestyle, your family dynamic, your goals. It has to be. This is why I will never write a book on systems, because it's not one size fits all.
Right. Here's the one size that fits all. Everybody needs a system.
Yeah.
That's it. The system is unique to each person and needs to be. We were having a conversation with a high school friend of mine this weekend. He came over to the house, a guy that I grew up with. Michael Couvion is his name. Super guy.
One of the nicest, smartest guys I know.
Yep. And he was talking to us about being on the spectrum and how growing up, he didn't know why he was different than other kids, right? But when he found out, he realized that most of the things that were causing him problems in his life were a lack of understanding. If people traditionally had a system where they could recognize if a kid has some kind of difference, right?
Right.
We got to get that kid diagnosed. If he was diagnosed when he was 12 years old instead of when he was 21 with Asperger's, his life would have taken a very different trajectory.
Here's what I would hope for the, I don't know which community, teaching community, learning community, mental health community, autism community. I don't know who to talk to, but my hope would be that just like we know that there are different learning styles, right? Some people are kinesthetic learners.
Right.
Okay. This is simply a different learning style and different style of understanding the world around them.
Right.
That's all it is.
I bring it up because he has decided he's going to add to his vocational repertoire public speaking for people to explain Asperger's and the spectrum and autism. And what an awesome deal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But the need for a system in schools is undeniable.
Yes.
And there's a need for a system in policing for dealing with people who are different.
Schools, the workplace, and law enforcement, all three, and, humanity at large,
right,
need a greater understanding of autism, the entire spectrum, including Asperger's, and I mean, it's a huge spectrum. So, but we need a greater understanding of it. He was saying that employment is a really big issue in the autism community. They're brilliant individuals who are underemployed.
That's what he said. Boy, he had some really good stuff to say last night, didn't he?
Yes.
What a super
It was
guy.
a fascinating couple of hours that we spent talking with him.
Yep.
Just a brilliant individual, so kind-hearted and
consistently kind. He's been that exact same way the entire time I've known him, and I've known him for over 30 years.
Yeah.
What a sweet man.
And engaging and
So systems are important for many reasons. Happy home, happy life, happy job, and happy mental health.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. I think this has been a very interesting topic.
I hope it's been thought-provoking.
Well, let me tell you something. If you don't have a system, you need to look within and figure out what you need to be doing every day on the job. If you're sitting there at your desk waiting for the phone to ring, let's say you sell cars, or you're waiting for an up to come on the lot, you're not going to be successful. You need to come up with a system to be proactive rather than reactive in your sales process.
And I love to create them.
There you go. If you need help with a system, call Sherwood Austin Growth Consultants at 509-491-2663. That number, one more time, for Londa at SherwoodAustin.com is 509-491-2663. It's a great time to be in business. Why not be in business with us? I love that. This has been The Session with Londa and David. We'll see you next week.